You ever wonder why, just when you're about to rise, something or someone shows up to pull your spirit down? It's not random. There are forces, seen and unseen, that feel threatened by the glow you carry. They can't stop it, so they scheme to dim it. Let's talk about the tactics they use to manipulate, suppress, and distort divine energy when it starts to remember itself. And let me be clear, this is energetic warfare disguised as emotional games. Let's begin. First, gaslighting. This is the oldest trick in the book. Not just psychological, but energetic. Gaslighting is when someone manipulates you into doubting your own reality. You'll hear things like, "That never happened. You're remembering it wrong. You're too sensitive." But underneath the words is the real tactic, distorting your internal compass. It's not about the specific event. They want to make you question your intuition, so that instead of trusting your inner knowing, you start looking outward for clarity, for validation, for permission to feel what you already know. And guess who controls that external validation? Them. This is a spiritual decentering. It's a way to separate you from your source, so you no longer trust the messages you receive directly from it. Second, ass buttering. Yes, family, you heard that one right. Most commonly refer to it as love bombing, but this seems way more appropriate. You heard it here first. At any rate, this one feels good initially. It's warm, intoxicating, addictive. They flood you with praise, attention, affection. They reflect the most radiant parts of you back to yourself. I don't know about y'all, but I've had my ass buttered pretty good. Like my cholesterol ain't high enough. Throwing you every praise and compliment under the sun. But then, they pull it away. Suddenly they're cold, distant, even cruel. And now you're in withdrawal, chasing the high of who they were in the beginning. You start performing, bending, suppressing your own needs, just to feel that version of them again. But here's the twist. That initial glow wasn't real connection. It was a setup, a manipulation to create dependency. And now you've shifted from standing in your light to hustling for crumbs in the dark. Third, smear campaigns. This one cuts different because it's not just an attack on your emotions, it's an attack on your reputation. They start whispering lies, twisted half-truths, or exaggerated stories behind your back. They poison the perception of others, so that when you speak your truth, no one believes you. It's not just gossip, it's spiritual sabotage, because isolation is the easiest way to dim a powerful soul. They want you cut off, doubting yourself, unsupported, so that when you cry out, the room goes silent. But let me say this, your truth doesn't need an audience to be valid. They try to kill your credibility, but your energy always speaks louder than their lies. 4. Manufactured chaos. Ever notice how right before your big breakthrough, some unnecessary drama erupts? A fight out of nowhere, an emergency that suddenly needs your full attention, a betrayal that hits you off guard. You are right there, on the edge of something beautiful, then boom, distraction. This is not coincidence. This is timed. It's spiritual interference designed to knock you off your frequency. Because your next level requires alignment, focus, peace. So if they can create emotional turbulence, they can cloud your clarity and delay your destiny. Pay attention to the patterns. If chaos always finds you right before you elevate, it's not a pattern, it's a program. 5th, trauma reactivation. This one is surgical. They know your wounds. They've studied your triggers. And when you start glowing too brightly, too confidently, too freely, they press the old buttons, not to help you heal, but to regress you back into the fearful, small, uncertain version of you. They'll say something slick, remind you of a past failure, compare you to someone who hurt you, and suddenly you're spiraling. Not because you're weak, but because that wound was never meant to be weaponized against you. It's intentional. They know if they can drag you back into the past, you'll forget how powerful you've become in the present. 6. Copying and hijacking your style. This one stings because it feels like flattery until it doesn't. They mimic your vibe, your language, even your spiritual gifts. They study your light, then try to wear it like it's theirs. They become your hand-me-downs. But they don't honor you. They don't credit you. They compete with you, using the very blueprint you gave them. You might see this online. Someone adopting your voice, your message, your rhythm. Or in real life, people echoing your ideas, then acting like they invented them. This isn't just admiration. It's energetic theft, because if they can confuse the source, they can profit off your essence without doing the inner work. But here's the truth. No one can sustain a light they didn't earn. And while they may copy your glow, they'll never carry your fire. Final thoughts. The reason they used these tactics on you was never because you were weak. It's because you were potent. Because you saw too clearly, loved too deeply, and carried too much divine memory in your bones. They weren't just trying to dim your light. They were trying to control the ripple it would create, trying to distort your mirror so you'd forget who you are. But here's what they'll never understand. You don't just shine. You ignite, you awaken, you transmute, you lead. And the more they try to silence you, the louder your soul becomes. Yes, they called you too sensitive, too intense, too much. But that's only because you stirred something in them that couldn't stand next to your fire. You were never too much. You were the exact amount needed to break a pattern, to cut cords, to birth something sacred through your presence alone. And I know there were moments you questioned yourself, times when the gaslighting got heavy, when the copying made you question your originality, when the ass buttering spiked your blood sugar levels. But here you are, still shining, still breathing, still carrying codes the world hasn't even fully seen yet. So here's the truth. You're not just a light worker. You're a system breaker, a cycle ender, a living prayer your ancestors whispered into this timeline. And you were never meant to beg for spaces that couldn't hold you. You were meant to build, to create new blueprints, to set frequencies that can't be copied or hijacked. So breathe. They may have tried to dim you, but they forgot one thing. You were never a candle. You were always the sun. And no matter how many shadows tried to surround you, your rise was already written,